Leonardo da Vinci, a name that etches a luminous trail in the darkness of time, brings the brilliance of genius worthy of standing for all time. He is a multifaceted figure, traversing his diverse world, not only as a master painter but also as a scientist, engineer, inventor, anatomist, musician, sculptor, and architect. Leonardo's brilliance lies in the personal secrets locked behind his mirror writing notes, where he often wrote his ideas backward, a method that still sparks various theories about its purpose. Is this merely a method to hide his ideas from unwanted eyes, or a form of creative encryption that facilitates his left-handed writing? The answer may not be as simple as it sounds. Da Vinci's genius extends beyond masterpieces like the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, but also in precise human anatomy sketches, visionary flying machine designs, and various innovative concepts in hydraulics. These concepts, once considered mere dreams, now serve as evidence of his scientific intuition far beyond his time. What makes Leonardo so special? He not only possessed boundless curiosity but also dedication to improving and perfecting every aspect of his knowledge. He was never content with surface-level knowledge alone. He pursued the interconnectedness between art and science with fervent passion. However, to delve deeper into Leonardo's genius, we must be careful not to fall solely into the romanticism and mythologization of his genius. Every step he took, every work he produced, was the result of careful observation, repeated experimentation, and remarkable perseverance. He learned from mistakes and failures, an aspect of his story often overlooked when admiring him as an untouchable figure of success. The greatest challenge in understanding Da Vinci may lie in the fact that most of his 17,000 pages of notes and illustrations were never published during his lifetime. Thus, peering into Da Vinci's mind is akin to navigating an endless labyrinth filled with incomplete discoveries and untested thoughts. In understanding Leonardo da Vinci, we must move beyond mere admiration of his creative output and closer to his insatiable thirst for true knowledge. What would the future look like if he had access to our current technology? How would he view the boundaries between the possible and the impossible? A detailed and critical examination of his life reveals a reality. Leonardo da Vinci, with all his genius, was also a human with limitations. His genius was not only the product of what he achieved, but also of the questions he left for us to ponder. Leonardo da Vinci is often referred to as the epitome of a Renaissance man, a figure whose genius spans across disciplines. Born in Vinci, near Florence, Italy on April 15, 1452, he grew up without the classical formal education that permeated the European elite at the time. As an illegitimate child of a notary and a peasant woman, Leonardo did not qualify for university education or join many professional guilds. However, this limitation may have freed him from the doctrines of conventional thinking and allowed him to pursue his interests autodidactically. Leonardo began his career as an apprentice in the art workshop of Andrea del Verrocchio in Florence, where he studied various aspects of art, including drawing, painting, sculpture, and other artistic techniques. However, his talents were not limited to art alone. His broad curiosity led him to fields such as anatomy, botany, geology, mapping, and machine design. Leonardo's penchant for comprehensive note-taking in his notebooks allowed him to store complex ideas and observations with remarkable detail. This includes human anatomy sketches, which, although not immediately recognized, are one of his greatest contributions to science. However, Leonardo's genius is not only reflected in his extraordinary technical thinking, but also in his achievements and unique approach to all forms of knowledge. The use of mirror writing, a technique where text is written from right to left, may indicate introverted character and protection he took in his work. Some researchers argue that this mirrored writing was a way to keep his work from the eyes of most people, while others believe it was a pragmatic attempt to avoid smudging ink with his dominant left hand. Whatever the true reason, this technique adds mystique to his image as a mysterious figure. Critics throughout history have often emphasized that only a few of Leonardo's inventions were realized or even recognized during his lifetime. This burdens Leonardo's reputation as a practical innovator. However, this critical view distorts our understanding of the true utility of Leonardo's ideas. His primary intention was not commercialization but understanding. Leonardo challenges us to look beyond invaluable inventions and artistic masterpieces like the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. To truly understand figures like Leonardo, we must try to follow the deep curiosity that continuously pushes the boundaries of knowledge regardless of recognition or direct application. In the veil of his genius lies not only the magnificence of his achievements, but also his courage to ask fundamental questions about the universe, life, and humanity, questions that continue to inspire generations. 1. Genius. Leonardo was not just a masterful painter. Many of his works, such as the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, remain eternal for their technical excellence and the mysteries infused in their details. However, his artistic side was just the tip of the iceberg of his genius. In the thousands of pages of notes and sketches that emerged after his death, a sea of curious and innovative thinking was revealed. But what was the secret of Leonardo's genius? Leonardo had boundless curiosity and an interdisciplinary approach. He didn't just observe the world, but questioned it. The notes he wrote in backward handwriting, perhaps to conceal his thoughts from spies or simply because he was left-handed, a la mirror writing, provided a window into his unique thought process. In the challenge of understanding the world, he was never satisfied with surface-level answers. His ability to innovate led him to design machines far ahead of his time, such as helicopters and tanks. Although many remained as concepts and were not realized during his lifetime, his templates for understanding mechanical principles and aerodynamics indicated that he was thinking far ahead of his contemporaries. His obsession with direct observation and experimentation, from human anatomy to water currents, led Leonardo to spend a lot of time observing and recording natural phenomena with remarkable detail. Illegal dissections of corpses to further understand human anatomy illustrate how far he would go to gain authentic knowledge. The critical side of his genius also lay in his ability to synthesize information from various sources and use it to solve problems. However, it should be noted that his steps were not without mistakes. Modern studies have shown that some of his theories and designs were wrong or impractical. His genius instead lay in his ability to acknowledge errors and continue to strive. The mystery of Leonardo's genius lies in the eternity of the questions he left behind, not just the ability to produce answers. For every masterful canvas and technical explanation, there are hundreds of questions in his notes that are still relevant to modern discoveries. The secret of Leonardo da Vinci lies not in the answers he found, but in the way he learned to ask the right questions, a spirit that should be instilled in every innovator, artist, and scientist, striving not only to create but to understand. 2. Connected. The unconnected. The secret of his genius lies in his extraordinary ability to connect seemingly unrelated disciplines. First, Leonardo did not have a comprehensive formal education. However, this limitation freed him from the academic dogma of the time, allowing him to explore new ideas without prejudice. The combination of unlimited curiosity and detailed observation drove him to seek patterns and connections among various phenomena. Second, the notes he made, known as codices, are the primary legacy that reveals his extraordinary thinking. In these partially translated pages, we see how he could delve from anatomy, through engineering concepts, to studies of water flow and bird flight patterns. There were no strict disciplinary boundaries for Leonardo. Art and science reunited as an integral body of knowledge in his work. Third, perseverance and patience in his exploration of various fields are important to highlight. Many of his projects remained unfinished or successful during his lifetime, but his persistent efforts in experimentation and trial and error laid the foundation for future innovation. If viewed critically, his failures can be interpreted as evidence of boundless ambition and forward thinking beyond his time. Fourth, Leonardo's painting skill was a means of intellectual investigation. Studies of human proportions, as reflected in the Vitruvian Man drawing, are a perfect example of how he integrated art, mathematics, and science to seek a deep understanding of proportion and geometry. However, it must be acknowledged that not all his efforts were spectacular breakthroughs, and some ideas that he was ahead of his time may have been overly praised. In his lifetime, many of his discoveries and innovations went unrecognized or could not be realized due to technological limitations. To fully appreciate Leonardo's genius, criticism must go beyond the finished products. We must carefully contemplate the creative process and observation methods fueled by his ever-burning curiosity. This shows that the secret is not just about discoveries or produced works, but the framework of thinking that allows creative connections between different fields of knowledge. This intellectual attitude shaped the genius of Leonardo da Vinci, a maestro who transcended the boundaries of time. 3. Hard work. The key element that made him a phenomenal figure was his tireless work ethic and remarkably efficient use of time. His hard work wasn't just a product of the Renaissance era. It was a prerequisite for his extraordinary ability to traverse various disciplines. There's critical thought replacing the myth that Da Vinci was a born genius. Reality, he spent countless hours honing his skills, painting, observing nature, and experimenting with various ideas. His willingness to delve into a problem from many angles, unrestricted by the boundaries of traditional fields of study, allowed for synchronous and integrated learning. In fact, he often engaged in unfinished projects. Criticism of this habit needs to be seen as a reflection of his unchanged passion for continuous learning rather than failure to complete tasks. For Da Vinci, time wasn't just a measure of passing days, but a resource to enhance his understanding and abilities. His surviving notes and sketches reveal someone tireless in the pursuit of deep understanding of matter and natural principles. Leonardo is reported to have followed a polyphasic sleep pattern, more specifically a system known as the Uberman sleep schedule, which involves short naps spread throughout the 24-hour day, compared to the monophasic sleep principle, where individuals sleep for one long period at night. One of the polyphasic methods often associated with Leonardo is the Uberman sleep schedule, although historical evidence does not always strongly support this assumption. According to the Polyphasic Society, individuals can adjust the system in various ways to suit their needs. In this practice, Da Vinci in Claudio Stampi's book Why We Nap, 1992, had a special formula. One of its secrets, or is the formula to sleep 15 minutes out of every 4 hours, with a total of only 1.5 hours of sleep per day, the book writes. Therefore, it seems that he could gain an additional 6 hours of productivity per day. By following this unique regimen, he gained additional productivity for 20 years during his 67 years of life. This method allowed Leonardo to maximize his waking hours to work in various fields, art, science, engineering, anatomy, among others, without being hindered by the need for continuous sleep. However, this approach has also sparked controversy among modern researchers about sustainability and long-term effects on health. In studying Leonardo da Vinci's sleep practices, it's important to remember that comprehensive documentation of Leonardo's daily routines is very limited. Nevertheless, existing records indicate that he often worked at night using candlelight to illuminate his work. This may indicate Leonardo's natural tendency toward an unconventional sleep cycle. However, a criticism to be made is that Da Vinci sometimes was too far ahead of his time. so his findings and theories couldn't be realized or appreciated in the context of his lifetime. Nevertheless, the intrinsic drive that propelled him beyond the boundaries of knowledge and technology remains an invaluable example for contemporary innovators. Given the technological limitations of his time, he was able to make the most of every minute with an undying perseverance to master and develop every field he studied. This is perhaps the true secret behind the success and genius of Leonardo da Vinci. A boundless dedication to hard work and the utilization of time. Unending wings flapping in pursuit of truth and beauty, even if it means flying against the winds of time. 4. Polymath. Leonardo da Vinci is the ultimate symbol of what's known as a polymath, someone with broad and deep knowledge in various fields of science, art, and technology. Da Vinci wasn't just a leading painter, with works like the Mona Lisa and The Last Supper still praised for their beauty, but he was also a scientist, engineer, mathematician, inventor, and anatomist. He recorded his ideas in thousands of pages of journals covering various topics, from studying water flow to designing flying machines, clearly showcasing his insatiable curiosity. If we analyze how Da Vinci combined art and science, we can see he didn't just jump from one field to another. Instead, he saw intrinsic relationships among various types of knowledge. For example, his understanding of human proportions and anatomy greatly influenced his paintings, which featured figures with incredibly detailed anatomy and very realistic facial expressions. Furthermore, his knowledge of mechanics and lighting helped him design objects and buildings. His skill as an inventor often stemmed from his observations of the natural world. He recorded and drew designs based on trees, birds, and water. However, we must critically acknowledge that his genius could also transcend the excessive mythologizing. Many of his ideas and inventions were not realized or even practical in his time. For example, some of his flying machine designs wouldn't have been able to fly with the technology of his time. What's also worth criticizing is that Da Vinci may not have been just naturally talented, but also lucky to be in an environment that allowed and supported his intellectual growth. Furthermore, Da Vinci's legacy is also not without luck in the preservation of his works that have survived to this day, allowing us to re-examine his creativity and intelligence. In short, Leonardo da Vinci crystallizes the tight integration of art and science, two areas we often separate. Delving into Da Vinci's life and work reminds us that to be a polymath isn't just about accumulating knowledge, but also about seeing patterns and relationships that connect various disciplines, something that makes Da Vinci relevant even in this highly specialized modern world. Conclusion. Leonardo da Vinci, often regarded as the epitome of genius in human history, brings forth a series of mysteries that continue to intrigue after centuries. The secret to his success lies not only in his sharp intellect, but also in his unique application of knowledge across disciplines. During his lifetime, Da Vinci diligently recorded observations and ideas in various journals. The key lies in the notes containing anatomical sketches, flying machine designs, studies of water flow, and of course, iconic paintings. Da Vinci didn't separate art from science. He saw both fields as complementary in the pursuit of genuine understanding of the world. Moreover, Da Vinci exemplifies the Renaissance man's attitude towards life, where he sought knowledge across a broad spectrum and dared to challenge norms of his time. He didn't shy away from authority or deeply rooted traditions in scientific and artistic life. This reveals another aspect of his genius, his courage to question and, if necessary, defy conventions. Of course, Da Vinci also had his weaknesses, finishing projects. He was notorious for leaving tasks unfinished, perhaps due to his inclination towards perfectionism or his rapidly shifting interests. Ironically, in his failures to complete, he often achieved levels of innovation unimaginable to his peers. Our assessment must remain critical yet fair. acknowledging that while his failures are part of his story, his successes have defined Da Vinci as the epitome of genius itself. An openness to new knowledge and the ability to connect dots across disciplines gave him an unparalleled advantage. The secret of Leonardo da Vinci is nothing but a mixture of passion, the willingness to rediscover oneself repeatedly, and the perseverance to explore the boundaries of knowledge. We may never fully understand how his mind worked or every reason behind his sometimes unexplained actions, but that only adds a mystical dimension to a figure who, in reality, has given as much as possible to the world, albeit not always in complete form. By delving into the life and work of Leonardo da Vinci, we learn the lesson that genius is not only the prerogative of those with high IQs, but can be nurtured within an interdisciplinary framework, an insatiable curiosity, and the courage to transcend the boundaries of contemporary thought. Thanks you.